What's going on, guys? Uche Joku, Sneaker Principal. I want to make a quick video before I start my day. I just dropped my daughter off at school and made it over to my school. And as I was driving over here, I was having a thought that was permeating itself through my mind. And it's a thought of gratitude. And the gratitude that I have is for someone who really, most of you might think, why are you showing gratitude to this person? Because when you hear the story, I'm going to make this really quickly, you're going to think to yourself, like, there's no way in the world this person deserves your gratitude, but they really do. So I'm going to go back to 2013. I had decided to leave New York City schools. Things were not quite happening the way I wanted them to happen, even though I knew in my core that I was destined to be a school leader, I was destined to be a principal. I had put a lot of work in. I had been passed over too many times, and I was like, you know what, I'm good. I need to leave New York. I need to go head back west to California. But in reality, I wasn't sure how I was going to make California happen. However, my mother and was living in Las Vegas, which is 30-hour drive or so from Los Angeles. So she was like, come to Vegas. Vegas is it's a booming place. Things are growing. There's a lot of opportunities. So I was like, okay, let me look into Vegas. I looked into Vegas. There was a job opportunity. I applied. I was made an offer to be a principal in Las Vegas. Got there, and apparently the position I was supposed to fill, the person decided to stay. So I'd already given up everything here in New York to be in Vegas. So when I got there, they were like, listen, there's a lot of opportunities still coming up, probably not this year, but the following year. Here is a opportunity for you to at least start the year and learn the system as an assistant principal. So I was like, you know what? Sure, why not? So I was thinking that I was going to get a position as a middle school or high school assistant principal, because that's my career. My career has been a secondary school educator. But no, I was given opportunity to be, and I would say given opportunity, even though at that moment in time anything was an opportunity, to be an elementary school assistant principal. What do I know about elementary school? Nothing. The last time I was in elementary school is when I was actually in elementary school. So I went ahead and took on the role. I'll never forget. Got there, and I often don't name schools, but I'm going to name this school for this opportunity that was given to me. I'm going to name it. It was Lewis E. Rowe Elementary School on Bruce Street in Las Vegas, Nevada. So I took the position because I had no choice. I got to make money. I got to eat. And the principal there was Principal Brown. Our first name will remain unmentioned. If you work there and in that area, you know who I'm talking about, Principal Brown. And I'll say this off the bat: she didn't choose me. I was placed there, so I totally understand that. I got there, and from the day I got there, I knew without a doubt in my mind I was not welcomed. Here is this 280-pound black man who was a middle school turnaround administrator in New York City, now at this elementary school in Las Vegas, babies, a staff that had been there pretty much for a long time, and everyone there was pretty much the quintessential elementary school environment. And here I am coming in, and I think just my physical presence made people feel uncomfortable, even though I am a sweetheart. But I got there, and from the moment I got there, I was being thrown all these tasks that to me were very elementary. It was almost like I was being tested. Can you handle this? So I wasn't even there a month. I had to run my first PD on Charlotte Danielson's framework for teacher observation and teaching excellence. I'm messing that up. So I did that, and I'm looking at this principal. I'm like, listen, lady, you don't understand. I'm from New York City, okay? We've done this. Danielson's what we do. So I ran that workshop, and people were like, wow, we had never seen this done like this before. So I'm like, because y'all never been in New York City. So I did that workshop, but then from that point, everything I was given seemed to kind of like be intentional to prove that I wasn't worthy enough to be there. So everything I was given, I took on head on. When I was assigned to supervise pre-K through, I believe, second grade, I was like, why would you have me do that versus doing upper grades, which based on my experience having been a middle school administrator, I can really support teachers in preparing these kids to move into middle school world. But again, the purpose was to test me, but not only test me, hopefully that I would fail. So I ran pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and I think I did a heck of a job. Teachers who were kind of like, I don't know about this guy, end up, I think they ended up liking me. I think they really appreciate the fact that I would give them quality feedback. At one point in time, I was actually questioned about whether or not my feedback to teachers was too much, which is kind of funny. Why would it be too much? I was told just follow the checklist. And I'm like, a checklist is just a checklist. I want to give people actionable feedback so they can improve their practice. This is the work, right? This is the work we're doing. It's about children and making sure children have what they need. So I did that. But I'll tell you, this principal was relentless. Everything that I did was questioned to the point I ended up getting written up. First time in my career I got written up was in Las Vegas. And it was funny because I remember I sat there with her and her supervisor. I think they were called like area deputy superintendents, whatever this lady's role was. And they questioned me. They were like, based on your resume, you seem like you know this work very well, but we're not quite seeing that here. And I was like, you're not quite seeing what exactly? I'm being sabotaged left and right. But I kept quiet. I kept on rocking. And then there was a major incident that happened that wasn't even major, that was completely fabricated. If you want to know what that story is, I've told that story before, but if you want to know what that story is, let me know in the comments, and I'll tell that story in a separate video. But there was a thing that happened that was completely fabricated. The kids said it was fabricated. The parents who were there said it was fabricated. Even the teachers were like, this was fabricated. But it led to me being terminated. But what they did was they didn't terminate me. They said my contract would not be renewed. So this is a trick that a lot of people use. They will say every year you have a renewed contract, okay, versus having a position. So they don't quite fire you, but when they fire you, there's a lot of legalities behind that versus a termination of contract where it's like we can at any point in time say this is not working out. So that's what ended up happening. And I get to this point in my story at minute 7. I'm sorry it took way too long to tell you. At that moment in time, when I had that conversation and my contract was not being renewed, when I say that my whole entire spirit, my whole entire state of being was broken. Like I weighed everything about who I was on my ability to do my job really well. And I was like, what does this mean? I've never been fired before. You know what I'm saying? And especially in education, this is what I do. The programs I've done, Columbia University, Summer Principals Academy, I was a Con Ally for the Con Fellows program, where I identified some of the top principals in the country, and the principal who was identified made me their ally to mentor me through this program. So I was like, man, I am equipped to lead. Not only equipped to lead, I am equipped to serve a community. Now here I am being told by these two women that I am not worthy. And I'll tell you, I broke down. I think I gained another 40, 50 pounds after that. I was like so distraught. And I remember my mother saying, keep faith in God. This door is being closed for another door to be open. And as a result, fast forward, a friend of mine called me and said, hey, there's an opportunity back in New York if you're interested. And I had no other choice. I went back. I felt like I was going back to New York with my tail between my legs. Came back here. That was the fall of 2014. So in 1 year's time, I was back in New York. But let me tell you how great God is. Let me tell you how great God is. Because I was out there crying over a job. But the reality was this. My life's work. See, the Bible says a man should not eat unless he works. If a man does not work, he should not eat. And here I am crying over a job when in all reality, God has set me up for work, purpose. So I came back to New York 2014 and was like in limbo. I was working part-time as a school administrator, not even full-time, no benefits, literally working 4 days a week, but I was going in 5 days a week because I was like, I don't know how to just work, part time, you know, and this was at a school that I had left, and I had to go back to that school, and this is what I was doing. The principal who was there then had inserted an injury by then keeping me part time when I could have been made full time at any given time. But let me tell you why this was important. Because I was fired from a job, contract not renewed, and I returned to another job that was trying to hold me back. And as God would have it, a window opened through one of my mentors, who said, listen, here's an opportunity in a space that's not the most ideal, but this opportunity will get you back in the game full time. I took that opportunity, and it was the worst performing middle school in the Bronx at the time. As far as, not the worst performing. At that point, I was labeled the most violent middle school in the Bronx at that time. And this was the spring of 2015. I went there as an assistant principal. I got hired on full time, and as God would have it, within a year, I was the principal of that school. And that school is still standing, doing amazingly well. Who ended up being my assistant principal is now the principal there. Then not only that, I've gone on to lead 2 schools. I'm at my 3rd school. And it's funny because I wonder where Principal Brown is right now. Because I really want to tell her thank you. Because of your actions and your disbelief in me, God has elevated me in my work. So I just want to share that with you right now. Wherever you are right now, you feel like you're being crushed by an environment, by people who do not believe in you, and they're trying to break you down. Maybe it's because that space you're in is literally a job. Is it your work? Is it that thing that God intended for you to do and do abundantly well? Think about that. Sometimes the thing that you're trying to hold on to is just a job. It's not the purpose-driven work that you were created for. Uche Njoku, Sneaker Principal. Till next time, be well.